Hi, my name is Keith French, and thank you for visiting us about our Link Options real estate strategy. Over the next 10 minutes, we are going to cover a simple way to get free property leads and what conversation will get owners to say yes to a link option. You're going to love Link Options. It's the lowest risk, lowest startup cost, real estate business strategy that applies to more leads and pays big chunks of cash fast that you'll ever find. Our students get checks all the time, whether working this business part-time or full-time. Also, you can do this business with or without any experience. Take Evan in Butler, Pennsylvania, who does this very part-time as additional income stream. Or Adam in Portland, Oregon, who gets big checks every month. Or Tom in Brookfield, Wisconsin, who is just getting started. So what is a link option? Well, it's wholesaling lease options. It's simply linking a property owner to a future buyer via a lease with an option to buy contract and getting paid to assign the option. There is no other real estate strategy this simple. Now we want to talk about how to get free property leads. The top 3 ways that we get free leads are realtor referrals, rehab or trash leads, those leads that they can't do anything with, and Craigslist ads. The one we're going to focus on in this video are Craigslist ads because they're not only free, but everyone has access to them right from the get-go. So let's talk about what email you would send to someone posting a house for rent on Craigslist. It's much easier to have a conversation with an owner when they call you in response to your marketing versus you cold calling them. Now, cold calling works, but why not do some free marketing and get the owners calling you? So we would send a simple, easy email. Hi, would you be interested in offering the house you have advertised on Craigslist as a rent to own, lease with an option to buy to one of our qualified tenant buyers? If so, please let me know. And then put your name and phone number. Keep your message simple. So now you've sent out these emails and your phone's going to start ringing and a property owner is calling you about your email. When you get an owner call, remember they are calling you for a solution and are hoping that you can help them. Therefore, the best thing to do is listen. Ask them a few questions and their responses will guide you exactly what to say. Also be confident and positive. Owners have a keen sense of detecting when you don't sound confident about your service. And that in turn will enable them to ask a lot of objection type questions. You should be excited to help them, educate them, and not seem too salesy. So here's how that conversation would go when you pick up the phone. Hello, this is Keith French with Buy Baltimore Properties. How may I help you? I got your email about renting to own my house. Great. Thanks for calling us. Can you tell me the address? Yeah, it's 123 Any Street, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Okay, yes. Do you prefer to just rent it out, or would you consider selling it if you could get full price? What is your ideal situation if you could do exactly what you wanted with this property? I would consider selling it if I could get full price, yes. But I'm not interested in having a realtor sell my house. I've tried that and it did not sell, so now I'm just trying to rent it out. I understand, and I'm really glad you called us, as we are not realtors. Now, for those of you listening, if you are a realtor, this is where you would just simply tell the owner that you are a realtor, but you're not trying to list their house. Continue with the conversation. Our company specializes in helping owners get full asking price with our rent-to-own program. Typically, our sellers net 20 to 30% more than if they sold their property any other way. We specialize in finding tenant buyers who are near bank qualified, will pay full price, and just need to rent for several months before purchasing. Is this anything that interests you? Yes. Great. As I stated earlier, the benefit to you, the owner, is that you will net 20 to 30% more than if you sold your property any other way. You are just waiting on our tenant buyers to repair their credit before they can buy, and we work with a credit repair company to help them accomplish this. Most of our tenant buyers purchase between 12 and 15 months. The reason we call them near bank qualified is because our tenant buyers must meet 4 of 5 criteria that a lender is looking for when someone applies for a bank loan. For example, they must have the following to be considered for our program: adequate income to afford the rent and the future mortgage, a minimum down payment of 3.5% of the purchase price, lendable debt to income ratios, good job history. The only item missing is their credit score, which can always be fixed if the first 4 criteria are met. Now, there are some exceptions, but typically, if one of the first 4 criteria cannot be met, then we are not able to work with them. We put our clients into an 18-month lease, during which time we assist them with their credit repair. How does this sound so far? It sounds good, but what does this cost me? Great question. We don't charge for our service, as we get paid directly by the tenant buyer from the required down payment. You get the first month's rent, and we get the down payment as our fee. Also, we are not an exclusive listing like is the case with a realtor. Therefore, you can continue to market your property any other way you like. We just ask that you tell us if you get it rented out before we find a tenant buyer for you, or if you want to list it with a realtor, we will need their permission to keep marketing your property. So what is the process if I want to move forward? It's really simple. We just need to get written permission to market your property for rent to own. I have that document that I can send to you, and once we get that back, we can start marketing your property. The only other thing we need to do is coordinate getting pictures of your property and a lockbox on the door so that we can show it to our tenant buyers. Now, for those of you listening, we have the owner send us pics and put a lockbox on the door themselves. But when just starting out, you will probably want to meet the owner to establish a good rapport and build up your confidence level. It's always easier to have a smooth transaction when you can actually meet with the owner in person. Continue with the conversation. The seller says, "Great, send me the paperwork to sign and let's get this started." "Wonderful, thanks for your time, and I'll send that document to you as soon as we hang up. Also, feel free to call me anytime if you have any additional questions. We look forward to helping you find a qualified tenant buyer for your property." If you guys follow our script, then it will reduce the number of questions and objections that the owner will ask you. However, they probably will ask a few questions. And the more thoroughly and confidently that you answer them, the more success you'll have. Now, there are some potential objections that a owner might ask. And so let's just go over what some of those potential objections might be. Now, I want to tell you, we cover how to answer these objections thoroughly in our Link Options course. But let's just make you aware of what some of the objections might be. How long will this process take, or how long will it take for you to find a tenant buyer? I don't want to be a landlord and just want to sell it outright. What if the tenant buyer does damage to my property? Is there a security deposit in this transaction for me, or do I get part of the option down payment? What if my house doesn't appraise when the tenant buyer goes to purchase? What if the tenant buyer doesn't pay the rent? What if the tenant buyer doesn't purchase during the lease term? How can someone with challenged credit purchase my home? What if I find a renter before you find a tenant buyer? Can I list my house with a realtor? Who is responsible for repairs and maintenance? How do you determine the purchase price and the rental amount? Again, we cover all of these objections in our course and how to answer each one. It's actually quite simple how to answer these questions once you know the answers. Link Options helps everyone. Owners net 100% or close to their asking price, not the 50 to 70% or less from a cash offer, and not the 80 to 85% or less from an MLS transaction, a traditional transaction. Many people do not realize that in most markets, they will only net about 80 to 85% of the price listed in the MLS. We explain why in detail in our Link Options course. Renters become homeowners, and you help set new high comps in neighborhoods. Link Options equals great cash flow with little to no risk. An average option fee is between $5,000 and $6,000 per deal, and these deals are everywhere. Look what happens if you just do one a month, or 2, 3, 4, or even 5 a month. The income can be substantial. Now, we can't guarantee you will get the same results that we have, nor that your average option fee will be the same. Some people in other markets may have a higher average, while others may have a lower average. Much will depend on your market and how much effort you put into the business. Regardless, if you implement the guidelines we have taught you, then you should do very well. This is a very easy business to implement and operate and almost has no overhead expenses. Link Options has allowed us to build a business around our life so we can do what we want, when we want, debt-free from anywhere. We actually run our business full-time from 1,200 miles away and while we are traveling. We don't let real estate control our lives, and neither should you let your real estate business control your life. Here's how you can contact us for more information. You can reach us on our email at info@keithandshannonfrench.com. Go to one of our websites at keithandshannonfrench.com or linkoptions.net, or you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com, Keith and Shannon French.